Hello, I am Perez Hilton, and you are watching AntiNews. AntiNews, for those of you who are soulless, catty, ginger shills, that is the podcast for you and me.
Yo, 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 yo. Well, it's Wednesday again. Actually, it's Monday because we record this on Monday in the middle of the night. But this is happening on Wednesday, as far as you know, which means that often our breaking news is 2 days late. Welcome back to the AntiNews, the place where we talk about all the headlines, let you know what's going on in the world, supposedly, and what people are outraged about, and we just poke fun at the apocalypse as it happens. I am joined, of course, by the beautiful and illustriously smoking a pipe, Craig. Very sophisticated tonight. You are. Craig, how's it going?
Back to my roots. Definitely decided to backtrack to the good old days of the pipe, because when we started this show, if you remember, it was always the pipe.
Yeah, that was when you were, because you didn't have internet connection, you would be sitting out on the back porch or in your car, freezing, smoking a pipe, yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, I remember that.
I've got a picture somewhere of you.
Lots changed. A lot has changed. Yes. That would have been last winter. That was the same night, actually. I had my Carhartt, off-brand Carhartt. Don't want to sound too pretentious. It was an off-brand Carhartt, all bundled up like an Eskimo around me, Skyping with you. And then all of a sudden I got too cold, so I went and shut myself in my car, and that didn't do much better. I just remember holding back the shivers, and my inner core was just shaking because I was trying not to have shaking sounds in my voice, but everything in me was just wanting to shake.
Right. Yeah. Is that a bad connection? Is that static, or is that just Craig dying? So this is the place where we drink the drinks, smoke the smokes comfortably now in our climate-controlled houses, because that's how far the show has advanced. Now we have climate control. Welcome to 2019.
And internet.
And internet that works usually. But there's a reason why we're not live anymore. We'll not go down that dark trail of history. But this is the place where we drink the drinks, smoke the smokes, and all that fun stuff. So, Craig, what are you drinking? What are you smoking? Are you vaping anything? Do you have something on deck, or is it just tobacco?
I had something on deck. I have a vape on deck, but my juice is in my jacket somewhere else. It's that cherry lime stuff that I had a couple weeks back. I'm waiting for my shipment from our soon-to-be sponsor, Fuggin' Vapors Company.
FuggingVaporCo.com?
Fuggin' Vapors Company. Yes. And that I just ordered. I think it's a berry, a blueberry pear or something like that, mixed with menthol. It was on sale for, I think,
one of their brands
or
one of the other brands?
I think it's one. I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't think I've seen
I'd have to look up the order.
Their house brand.
It's on sale every once in a while. It's it's something like Frost, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that's their in-house brand. So
I'll let you know I'll let you know next week. Because it should be here by then.
Stay tuned for the epic conclusion to Who Cares? Craig, what are you drinking?
I am smoking. Well, I'm drinking because, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, I just got done with a 4-hour-long accounting class that I learned nothing in, and my brain melted. So the first thing I did was come straight home, order the kids to bed while pouring a massive glass of Jim Beam. And this is my second massive glass of Jim Beam since getting home at 9:30 or 9:45, so just a little over an hour, and that's how rough the night has been. So we'll see how the rest of this episode goes. And I am currently smoking, not vaping, smoking Captain Black, just original Captain Black, because they don't sell the good stuff anymore around here. They used to sell better shit. But the reason I'm smoking a pipe actually is because shout out to a friend of mine who actually listens to the show, Dan Sanford. He sold me this pipe. It's a nice Dunhill, which is a name brand pipe. I saw him posted online, and I was like, I'm gonna buy that from him, and I went and hung out with him. Stupid story. When I bought this, I hung out with him, smoked a couple out of a different pipe, and I was like, oh, this is a nice pipe too. And it was just a like no-name pipe. And he's like, oh, I'll just throw that in for the same price. I was like, oh, cool. So I go home, and my wife tells me to go out to the car and get something. So I go out to the car and get something. I come back in. She leaves for work. I reach in my pocket where both pipes were, and only one is in my pocket. Walk outside, and it had fallen out of my pocket, and she ran over it and broke it. Fortunately, it was the no-name
right
pipe.
After, right?
Yes, exactly. She is no longer. Actually, I murdered her.
Rightly so.
I mean, an eye for an eye, a broken neck for a broken pipe, I guess.
Yeah.
Fortunately, like I said, it was the freebie pipe, which
broken brain stem for a broken pipe stem.
Exactly. So that one I will repair, but I would have probably literally shed tears if this one that I actually paid money for would have broke. But yeah, Dan Sanford's a listener, so this is my shout out to him. If you like pipes, hit him up. And
he makes his own pipes, right? Go ahead and give him a plug.
He does actually. He runs his own little shop. He calls it Creators Design Pipes. And yeah, he makes some really nice pipes. He's actually what got me into making pipes, because I've smoked pipes for like 5 or 6 years now, and I saw that he had started smoking and then started carving his own. So I went and hung out with him a couple times and saw the tools and stuff he used, and I went out and got a couple tools myself, carved a few pipes of my own. Haven't done it for a while, but he's still doing it, and he restores pipes. So I'm going to take that pipe that broke back to him, and he's going to fix it up and restore it and put a new stem on it for me. So yeah, if you like stuff, if you like pipes and stuff,
if you like people, places, and things,
yes,
check out Creators Design.
Creators Design Pipes. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, and I think he has an Etsy site too where you can purchase some pipes that he restores, like he finds them at auctions and stuff, and then you can also find the stuff that he makes too. So pretty good stuff.
So I am currently vaping on, same as last week, it is the Cinnabon Peach Cobbler. That's the news for that. And I am drinking a very strong ice water because I've had a very long day.
So did I, and that's why I'm drinking very strong bourbon.
But my very long day as a self-employed individual probably consists of consuming more alcohol earlier in the day and deciding to end my night on a positive note, which is the opposite of you as an employee of the man.
The man?
The man. You work for the man.
As in the government or Big Brother or just work people in general?
Do you work for a man?
I do work for a man.
You work for the man. Okay.
Well,
so
I don't know. Well, define man.
It's 2019. Can you even define man anymore?
No. But if he's in search for testosterone boosters online, does that make him a man? Or does that make him less of a man?
That makes him Alex Jones. All right, so we are going to open up the show with calling in. We've had a couple voicemails from the week. This is always how we open the show. If you're new here, welcome to the show. You're listening to AntiNews with Dan Smots and the douche. No, if you want to be a part of the show, you can call in to 309.
Why am I the douche?
You can call into 309-716-3818. If you're watching it, it's down at the bottom of the screen. I don't know why everything's off center tonight, but whatever. Things are what they are. But let's see what we've got in the old phone. And the big old rotary that I normally pull up is across the room, and I'm not going to jump over there and grab it. So just imagine I am picking up a rotary phone as we listen to these voicemails. So
can you make the sound effects while you do it?
I can. Shing! Okay, here we go.
Well, howdy there, Dan Smots and brother Craig.
Sounds familiar.
This is your pal, Stefan. I haven't really
like being
bombarded you
referred to
with
as
very
Brother
many
Craig.
emails, or not emails. My goodness, I'm sorry. Phone calls.
That's what you're doing.
My
right now.
goodness.
You're calling.
But
and
I
talking
figured
on
I
the
would
phone.
give you a call and,
That's what's happening. Yes.
tell you that I'm only partially inebriated.
I think you're only partially sober, actually.
Pardon me.
Glass is half empty.
Partially inebriated.
Yes,
Anyway,
got it.
just killing the 2
3/4
minutes time
empty.
now. I'm gonna send you, Mr. Dan Smots, an email of one of my songs that actually is an original song from me and somebody who doesn't play with me anymore, but you get the idea of what my scope of skill is, with my my vocal talents and stuff. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. Either way, I don't really care, but I'm putting it out there. Maybe you could put it on the YouTube episode. You'll have
Maybe I can.
Very good at
face
selling
too,
himself.
or whatever with it, which you've already done. You bastard. Sorry, you bastards, because there's 2 of you.
Plural.
But
yes.
anyway, I will send that shit an email. I know that you probably don't have time to edit this, or maybe you do, but you have a new episode either tomorrow,
It's
Tuesday,
like his
or
ultimate
Wednesday.
goal in
I
life
can't
is to
remember
fill
which
the
day
full
you do,
2
but
minutes that Skype
I'll
allows
send
to
it
leave
to you
a voicemail.
tonight on a Monday, and maybe you can do what you will.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Anyway, y'all, you have a good night. Love you guys. Love what you do. Peace out. Stay uncomfortable. Suck my dick. I'm sorry. But
Well, now I'm uncomfortable.
He's only partially uninebriated. I don't know. But I'm going to switch this over to second screen here. I have not listened to this. This is news. I don't know what's going to happen here, but we're going to find out together. This is what he sent me. Hold on. Okay. I kind of want to cut him off and just go on to something else before he starts singing, because this is already too long. But that'd be a dick move. He should expect
Because
it by
we
now.
haven't heard anything he does yet.
Right, exactly. Craig, you can't see this, but right now it's just him shirtless bobbing his head.
Wish I could see
I can
that.
see it raining from above. All the blood that surrounds me, I'm drowning. I can see it raining from above. All the blood that surrounds me, I'm drowning. I feel like death surrounds me, and I am drowning. I feel like death surrounds me, and I am drowning. It raining from above.
There's that. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for sending me a shirtless picture of yourself yelling at a camera. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with my band for now. Let's see what else we've got on voicemail land for the week. What do we got here?
yeah, man. I mean, like, I gotta motherfucking say some shit, man. I promise you do. Like, I was scouring YouTube, trying to look at recommended videos and shit. You know how YouTube is. And I fucking come up on this shit. The system is down, and man, I just gotta say, man, y'all motherfuckers should be ashamed of your motherfucking selves, man. Like, I can't motherfucking believe that shit, man. Like,
Who's
you
this?
motherfucking ginger ass motherfucking white boys think you know how this world works, man? This world fucking works, man? I mean, fuck, dude.
Oh,
we got
not at all.
motherfuckers, like, up in here getting shot up by these motherfucking cops, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, bruh?
Next voicemail.
Like,
Thank you, caller.
Hey, guys.
Was that Stephanie?
This is just, like, dumbfounding to me, to be honest. You know, I can't believe it. So, this is, Moonlover 68. I'm actually, I'm Moonlover 69's older brother, and I just want to tell you, you guys are just unbelievable. I just can't fucking believe this shit. I swear, it's so fucking ridiculous. I was listening to a podcast, and you said that you were able to, like, convince your mother, that the moon landing was, like, fake or some stupid shit. I just can't believe you even say that. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. I hope you're ashamed of yourselves. The moon loving, yes, we like the moon loving, but the moon landing also is completely and incoherently true. I just can't see how you can see it another way. The government had to go in and do this before Russia was able to do it. So, like, I just can't believe you're spouting this nonsense. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't believe it. You guys are so fucking stupid.
Somebody else who
think that
seems
shit
like
ain't
they
true.
really need to fill up the full 2 minutes.
In fact, the intellect of
Completely
my brother
different person.
combined with the neurons firing off in my mind as well, just completely out-trumps any idea that you would ever have. I mean, our intellect is so sound, you could just never...
Thank you, caller. That was fantastic and beautifully written, scripted.
Well-versed.
Yes, thank you to all of our caller for calling in this week. I appreciate it very much. Now let's jump into what we're here to do, which is tell you what's going on in the world and report on the quote-unquote news, as some like to call it, in our own way, which is as disrespectful as we possibly can. Let's go. Could you just play the intro the first time I hit the button for the first time ever? That'd be fantastic. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, when this ends, if I'm not back, act like I'm here. So just don't let everyone know that I'm not here.
We give him hell before we do.
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
You have to stop supporting what I call anti-News.
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves were possessing weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth. I remember that with Matthew Moses. We are still here.
We have to say yes to socialism.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
All right. This is it. This is the real show. This is what you're here for. I know it takes about 20 minutes every single time for us to get to this point, and you're like, good Lord, shut the fuck up about your weekend and your pipe tobacco and your vape juice being in your other pocket, and that you're going to run into the other room during the intro to so you can come back and feel cool when you have your vape.
I didn't go anywhere.
Back and,
I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
It's not that I want to feel cool. It's I don't want to burn up my... I mean, if I wanted to feel cool, I would keep smoking my pipe. But I don't want to burn a hole through the bottom of it because I actually paid for that one. Unlike most pipes that I own, I actually paid money for that one. So I'm going to have to stick with the douche flute.
Douche fluted up. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the world. Craig, have you kept up on Jussie Smollett? Of course, our favorite Jussie Smollett. Do you know what's going on with this man?
Is he like? Did he get like the Nobel Peace Prize or something? That was the last I heard.
CBS News: Jussie Smollett arrested, accused of faking attack. Surprise, surprise. I feel like we should have just come on tonight and been like, "There's no news to report. We'll see you guys next week."
He's in jail.
Yeah, I mean, we said that this was going to happen. This was obviously going to happen. It happened. So that came out. That was on the 21st, which was, it's been a few days back now, shortly after last week's episode, actually, that he was arrested. Empire actor Jussie Smollett is in custody to face charges of making a false police report. That's the whole story. We could read the whole thing, but that's the story. Now, as of, let's see, what do we got here? Does this have a date on it? Oh, this is also February 21st. What the hell? But this is from Variety, so you know it's legit. But it says, Jussie Smollett returns to Empire set as Fox struggles to decide his fate.
His fate should already be decided.
He went back to the set. He's back on set of Empire in Chicago following his release from police custody on Thursday, Variety has learned. Smollett was released after posting bail in Chicago after police charged him with blah, blah, blah. We already know. Fox has stood behind the actor for the most part, issuing multiple statements backing him as evidence grew that he had staged his own assault. Earlier on Thursday, though, the network released a new statement that said, in part, "We are evaluating the situation and we are considering our options." What are your options? Who cares?
Last I read, they were working on writing them out of the script. Like, completely writing them out. They're probably just trying to figure out how to do it gracefully.
You know how they should write him out of the script?
A bunch of assholes.
You know how they should write him out of the script? They should make him kill himself in a racist, hateful attack against himself. Because, yes, he should hang himself. Because that's what he did in real life.
Bleach on himself. So, the only thing I have to report on, and it's not even a news story, it happens to be a stupid post. Like, somebody, like, it's a personal post of somebody on my contact list. I'm not going to say a friend. I don't even say Facebook friends anymore. I say Facebook contacts because I don't consider 99% of you my friends.
Just because,
well, not you as in listeners. Just because
you clicked a button does not make us friends. Sorry.
Yes. So this person posted, if Jussie Smollett can get indicted, the endless amounts of white people reporting innocent black people to police can too. A, yes, they should.
Yeah.
B, the difference is if Jussie Smollett were to have these big buff steroided out bodybuilder guys like following him around or something, or if he was suspicious of them and were to call the police on them and report them, that would be one thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right for every white person who sees a black person loitering on the corner to call the cops. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not the same thing as, say, a white person beat the shit out of himself and said, that black guy did it. That's the difference.
Right.
That's the big difference there. So you cannot compare the two of them. Yes, one is wrong, one is really fucked up. They're not on the same level and whatsoever, because Jussie Smollett didn't wrongfully accuse somebody. He paid them to lynch him and pour bleach on him, or probably water or something, and say it was bleach, and then said white people who are racist and Trump supporters committed a hate crime on me. That's the difference. Yeah. It was a staged thing. It wasn't I'm wrongfully suspicious of somebody. It's I'm going to make this look like it happened when it didn't. No way happen.
That's the thing. There was a hate crime committed, if you even believe that that's a thing, which I don't. But there was a hate crime committed based on your definition of hate crime, which is, a crime that's racially motivated, or some sort of whatever, bias, motivation to do with orientation or anything like that. There was a hate crime committed, and it was committed by Jussie Smollett against white people because he committed a crime that was based on race in order to make certain people look bad, and it's not large Somalians that he paid to beat him up. It's white people that he's currently framing. He's framing white society for he's calling racism where it is not. So I take offense to that because you're calling me a racist. If you can say that, somebody who beats up a black man who is a white man, that's a hate crime because you assume that it was racially motivated. This was racially motivated, and he did commit a crime. So this is a hate crime. And we're still going to pretend like this is there's still some sort of possibility that this guy isn't a scumbag piece of shit.
Right. But we have to also find a way to gracefully write him out of that washed-up show that he was on. That I can't even think of the name right.
Empire. If a white dude actually committed a hate crime, or like you said, if this was in reverse, they wouldn't gracefully write him out of anything. They didn't gracefully write Roseanne out of anything. They made her kill herself just because she said a thing that was like something stupid. She said that a woman who looked like a certain character kind of looked like a certain character, and so now she has to be suicided out of a show, but we're going to take the guy who pays somebody to punch him in the face to frame white society, and we got to delicately let this guy down. It's like, no, throw him in jail. He committed a crime. He wasted taxpayer dollars. He wasted the time of the police force and everything. He committed a crime, so deal with it as such.
The main complaint I've heard against them bringing him up on charges, and the police chief came out and had all kinds of words to say against it, how it was, like you said, a waste of taxpayer dollars. It was a big fraud. It was a big hoax. It was a disgrace to like the Chicago police force and stuff like that. Biggest argument I heard against that was Jussie Smollett's not receiving his due process. Like, we should prove that he's guilty before the police
Roseanne, right?
Chief, before
Roseanne,
the police
who tweeted
chief comes out and makes such bold statements against him. He needs his due process. Yes, exactly. Like, nobody stopped and paused to see what was actually going on with Roseanne. Yes, what she said was stupid as far as like a business decision or an entertainer's decision. Well, I don't even know, because she's a fucking comedian, and comedians say way worse than that all the time. But whether it was right or wrong, let's just say it was wrong. Nobody paused for due process for Roseanne.
She also didn't break any laws.
Immediately fired.
She didn't break any laws.
Right. Within like 24 hours, she was basically fired.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, she wasn't arrested because, as you mentioned, there's nothing to arrest her for. She didn't commit a crime, a hate crime or anything like that, or a fake hate crime or impersonate anything. But yeah, she was basically publicly indicted, like, as far as her career was concerned, and she was cast out and just like shit on instantly within not even 24 hours, because I think she posted it that night, and by like the morning show, which airs at like 7 a.m., people were just freaking crucifying her on the spot.
Yeah.
So
moving right along from this very flowery topic, we got to talk about our favorite politician as of late. Who do you think I'm going to talk about?
Trump.
Donald
Trump.
No, everybody else is talking about him. Let's talk about our favorite female.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, of course, Alexandria Nina Pinto Santa Maria Cortez.
Can we call her AOC? Just call her AOC. It's easier to think of.
This comes from Bloomberg.com, so you know it's legit. The headline reads, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal could cost $93 trillion, group says.
Holy shit. Where's this money freaking growing from?
The real question, before I read anything in this, is, Are people still taking this seriously? Like, are they trying to figure out how we can make magic? Because magic is expensive.
Yes, because my next story that ties into this story says people do think magic exists.
Does it? Okay, we'll get there. Let me read a little bit of this. Representative AOC's ambitious plan to fight climate change won't be cheap, according to a Republican-aligned think tank led by a former Congressional Budget Office director. Thank you for telling me absolutely nothing in that first paragraph. Of course it won't be cheap. Of course a Republican-aligned think tank led Congressional Budget Office director decided that it wouldn't be cheap. You're telling me nothing. Of course. The so-called Green New Deal may tally between $51 trillion and $93 trillion over the 10-year, concludes American Action Forum, which is run by Douglas Holtz-Eakin, who directed the nonpartisan CBO from I'm done. Bloomberg, you're out. I'm not going to read any more here. I'm having a bad night. I'm not going to read any more of this. You put two froms back to back in this story, so no.
That's it. You're
done.
off. You are cut off.
That's close. Moving on. What was your story?
So you're not even going to discuss
I'm not going to read it.
because
No.
they put two froms in a row.
It was clear where that story was going, and it wasn't worth talking about. So, if you're going to write a nothing story, at least have the decency to spell check.
Or grammar check. I mean, when you type something up, I don't know if they use Microsoft Word or not, but when you type something up in Microsoft Word, if you put two froms in a row, it will give you a big, ugly blue underline on it saying...
Whatever happened to the little paperclip guy that pops up on Microsoft Word and says,
I know,
it seems like you didn't mean to write from twice, you retards.
No, now they just put a big, ugly blue underline and said, do you really want to say this? Half the time it's, yes, I did want to say that. And half the time it's like, no, I'm a fucking moron. Thanks for correcting me on that. And apparently your source, I wasn't listening. Bloomberg, of all, should have looked at the blue underline.
Yeah,
so
no, I'm not doing it. Give me your story.
Speaking of people who think AOC can pull a rabbit out of her fucking ass, dozens of climate protesters...
knee-deep in Jim Beam at this point.
Not knee-deep, just ankle-deep. Okay, shin-deep. Dozens of climate protesters storm Mitch McConnell's office over the Green New Deal. Dozens of climate protesters. So at least dozens.
At least 24 people.
Agree. At least 24 people agree that this is a good idea. More than 100 youth climate protesters. I like how they say youth climate protesters. You know why I like that? Because it tells me that they don't know anything about what they're saying.
So it's dozens.
It's
dozens. So it's more than 100, but it's not more than 200. So we're kind of narrowing it down here because we don't want to be real specific. It's not under 100, but it's not over 200. So somewhere in the probably 101 ballpark range.
You can't say hundreds.
Exactly.
You have to say dozens.
Right.
More than 101 youth climate protesters entered Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's office Monday to advocate for the Green New Deal and challenge McConnell's plan to fast-track a vote on the resolution in the Senate. And like I think I mentioned it last week, Mitch McConnell called for an instant vote just to out whoever was or was not for this, even though every single Democrat is pretty much patting her on the back when she first came out with it. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then a couple of weeks later, they're like, oh, wait, that's what you're talking about? They're like, oh, shit.
Right.
And then instantly Mitch McConnell's like, hey, let's call this to a vote and see how many of you actually support this and actually are going to take sides with this or are going to stand up and actually say, no, this might be fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. So these 101 youth climate protesters are challenging his plan to fast-track the vote.
Yeah, cluster of children said what?
The youth climate advocates, members of the national climate group,
People
the
who
Sunrise
can't
Movement. The Sunrise
Movement.
Is that
cute?
Does that not Yeah, I know. That's adorable. It's either a bunch of cute little kids or it's a bunch of really dumb hippies, or the same,
they're youth,
or one and the same.
So it's probably kids who don't know how to drive, so they're advocating for people to stop driving.
So these advocates of the Sunrise Movement were seen overflowing from McConnell's office into the stairwell in the Russell Senate office building on Monday morning. Protesters inside his office held up a sign that read, "Mitch, look us in the eyes." Wow.
I will look you in the eyes. Well, what am I supposed to see aside from children?
So here's a quote by a 15-year-old who knows everything about what's going on in the world.
Are you serious? It says his age?
Yes.
And that's what we're supposed to care about?
Yes, because at 15, didn't you know everything that was going on in the world? Didn't you know everything about anything?
I mean, I felt there was a little spark in my dark black heart that felt kind of bad for David Hogg when we were giving him shit. And he's like an 18, 19-year-old who's talking about gun control. Now we're supposed to listen to 15-year-olds talking about climate change?
I mean, when I was 15, I remember being really upset that my 15-year-old girlfriend moved away, and I was really upset because I thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives together, and then I realized that was stupid.
When I said that these
16.
are children that aren't even able to drive that are going to talk about how we should be reforming our transportation methods, I was joking. Okay? Okay, universe? Okay, simulation Steve intern? I was joking, but that's exactly what this story is. So continue.
I am here because people in my community don't have jobs, are starving, and
you're not allowed to work. What are you talking about?
People in my community. It doesn't say people my age.
I know,
people
but you're too young to work, so who cares?
Are starving and turning to opioids and dying. Did they hit all of them? All the buttons?
They
don't have jobs.
Nope, never mind. They're
starving.
Starving.
They're turning to opioids. How are they?
They're becoming racists because of
First
climate. What?
They're broke, so they're turning to opioids. How is that exactly happening? Because last I checked, opioids aren't free.
They're a dime a dozen, man.
Except for I guess we are pushing for universal healthcare, and the healthcare system pushes opioids. So I guess if we're going for free healthcare, we're going for free opioids.
Dying of opioid overdose. Also, keep that free healthcare coming. We don't know what we want. Continue.
Exactly. Mitch MCConnell refuses to do anything about it, said 15-year-old Kentucky high school student Lily Gardner, according to a press release from the Sunrise Movement. This is so exhausting.
Close your eyes and imagine the Sunrise Movement. You just imagine like a kindergarten classroom with a big, beautiful yellow sun painted on the wall, smiling. That's literally who we're taking our political advice from these days, and this is what the story is.
I don't know if you remember this or if you even want to admit this, but we used to be homeschooled back in the day. Early in the day. That explains a lot about us. We were homeschooled for a brief period. I was homeschooled through 4th grade, which means you were homeschooled through...
I went in 2nd grade.
1st grade.
Mm-hmm.
I got it right.
So I am the most tainted of all of us because I was in the public school longer than anybody.
I remember digging out of a closet a wood engraved sign that said the Sunrise Academy. So I don't know if that's what our parents were going by when they first started homeschooling or what that was, but just imagine a homemade banner, wooden plaque that said the Sunrise Academy on it, and then think of the Sunrise Movement. That's all I can think of.
A little bit more culty if you found a banner in our parents' closet for homeschoolers that said Sunrise Academy. Okay.
That's not all I found in the closet.
Please continue. I want to know more what this 15-year-old has to tell me about how I'm living my life.
Within hours of the protest taking place, several members of the group could be seen being escorted out of the office in handcuffs by Capitol Police. I got to keep
handcuffs?
scrolling.
Were they disrupting?
Pictures.
Were they on private property? Mm-hmm. Were they breaking laws?
No. Let's see. This is McConnell's spokesperson. And it says, as with all Kentuckians, visiting D.C., we welcomed them to the office today. It's worth noting that 2 weeks ago, Senator McConnell had already announced that he will be bringing the Green New Deal up for vote in the U.S. Senate, as we already mentioned. The protesters delivered a petition containing 100,000 signatures to McConnell's office, calling on him to co-sponsor the Green New Deal.
Were they all children too? Because we poke fun at the Green New Deal, saying it sounds like it was written by a child. If the story is that your biggest advocates are literal children, what are we talking about here?
Well, all I've got out of it is that the protesters are youth, which tells me, yes, they're all approximately of the same age range. The protesters delivered 100,000 signatures to McConnell's office, calling on him to co-sponsor the Green New Deal. You know, this thing that you think is completely, utterly horseshit, we want you to co-sign that.
I'm down because a child asked me to nicely. And by nicely, I mean they stormed my office and demanded with their prepubescent voices that I listen to whatever the fuck they have to say.
That's like, let's say my sister-in-law, who has no idea. This is hypothetical. I'm not saying this about my sister-in-law. Let's say I have a hypothetical sister-in-law who has...
You're talking about my wife?
Yes. No track record of good spending. Let's say...
She doesn't.
Like, she has zero credit. Not even bad credit, just zero credit. She comes to me and says, hey, I'm going to buy this $500,000 house in Alito. So... tiny little town, $500,000 house. $500,000 house is probably the most expensive house in Alito, if not more than the most expensive house in Alito. And says,
why not make it $1 million?
I know you don't.
Money doesn't
I know
exist.
you don't know me, but I want you to co-sign this for me. And I say, that's stupid. I'm not going to do that because I don't know you, and I think that's a dumb idea. So she sends her niece, who is like 13 years old, to advocate for me to co-sign for her aunt.
No, she doesn't send her niece. She sends her niece and her niece's whole class to go storm your palace and demand that justice be served.
Class. Exactly.
This isn't real life. This is not real life.
Obviously, that's going to convince me to co-sign for this $500,000 house. And we're talking $500,000 co-sign, not this. How many $1 trillion did you say?
I don't know. I closed it.
It's
like
lots
93
of trillions
trillion
of
or
dollars.
something.
Just the word trillions tacked onto the end. It doesn't matter how many trillions.
An amount of money
trillions of dollars
that your brain can't
trillions.
process. You can't even think about it. It's just words at some point. It's made up, just like the whole thing is made up. This is not real life. None of this is. There's no way that we live in a world where a person is in Congress and they're pushing for nonsense and and not that she's sending it, but children are defending her, and that's news. That cannot possibly be news. I'm sorry.
Though.
It's not. It's not. I refuse to accept this as reality.
Who is this on? This is The Hill. The Hill is reporting on this. So,
and of course, Mitch McConnell said what? He said,
this is my
yes,
favorite
sure.
part.
Okay.
No, I don't think it says what he said, but we all can imagine what he said. But this goes on. The Hill goes on to say the non-binding resolution. That's the hilarious part to me is, will you support this freaking deal that has no merit whatsoever? It's a non-binding resolution. I mean, you can sign it all you want, but nobody has to follow it. So who gives a fuck whatsoever? The non-binding resolution is a sweeping environment.
This is a child's homework.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's like me signing off on my 8-year-old's homework assignment. It's like, yeah, this is bullshit, but good effort, I guess. Let me sign off on that.
Right.
The non-binding resolution is a sweeping environment and energy reform plan meant to set up the United States to mitigate the impacts of climate change. It lays out, in part, a pathway for the country to transition to 100% renewable energy use by 2030. I really want to see this plan that says in the next 11 years, we will completely do away with oil, gasoline, electricity like that's powered by coal or oil or natural gas or anything like that. Completely renewable energy use by 2030.
Yeah, the real story here is not. It has nothing to do with the children. It has nothing to do with any of that. The real story is, why are we still talking about this? Why are we still humoring this? I thought that this was a joke. Everybody thought that this was a joke. The people who said that they supported it were like, we don't necessarily support it. So why are we still talking about this? Why is this still a thing? Is this still moving forward? Are we actually pretending like this has any merit in reality at all?
Well, honestly, I want to see Mitch McConnell's proposal to call this to a vote instantly, because I would like to see if it is moving forward, because I want to see, like his proposal, I want to see how many Democrats, I want to see how many Democrats actually back this up, because I know Bernie Sanders was on board with it when it first came out, but I think once the details came out, I think even Bernie Sanders was just like, whoa, this is a little intense.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know. The whole thing is just
Mitch McConnell. I mean, his face already looks like a scared tortoise. Imagine him walking out into the hallway and seeing a sea of adolescent children demanding anything from him. Imagine the look on his face as he's telling them, well, guys, none of this makes any sense at all whatsoever. And this is not real. This isn't real. That's my conclusion to this story. This isn't real.
Imagine his fright, though, when he walks out and sees over 100, at least 101 prepubescent children outside his office. First thing is, he's going to think, these guys want me to sign something. Second thing is, if I don't sign it, they're going to accuse me of things that I didn't do, and they're probably going to win, because this is 2019.
Yeah. Yeah. Your children touched me in a special way, and I'm pretty sure I touched them too.
that says everything.
Yep.
It's over for him.
All right. You got anything else? This is just
on this one, no.
I mean, this one move along is what I'm saying. Bring us to greener pastures.
All right. Green Deal new pastures?
Dear God,
pastures?
Please no. Please
pastors?
stop. Please stop.
So, speaking of accusations, Donald Trump's being accused yet again. Did you hear about this?
No. Is Michael Avenatti going to be the one that is putting them up? And
Michael Avenatti's in on everything. He was in on the R. Kelly thing, which, who is it? Quincy Jones came out against R. Kelly. This isn't a news story, but I did see a headline where Quincy Jones basically said, "Yeah, I'm not surprised," based on the fact that apparently he married Aaliyah when she was 14. Did you know this?
I don't know anything about the case at all.
Do you know who Aaliyah is?
I do.
Know who Aaliyah is?
I know that this is like news that's coming back out because R. Kelly is finally going to. How did it take like 20 years for this to become an actual issue?
How did when he married a 14-year-old nobody questioned that shit?
Right. Now she's like old and
no, she's dead. Aaliyah died a long time ago.
I don't know things.
Aaliyah died in a plane accident right after Queen of the Damned came out.
I remember that now. I'm bad with names. So, welcome to the AntiNews, where we pretend like we know things. Go ahead.
Back to the story. CNN reports that former Trump campaign staffer sues, alleging that Trump kissed her without consent. How far do you think this is going to go? How far? Do we want to? We should have a game show or
How long before people forget that this happened? How long?
That's even better. Just everybody pays in $5, and whoever wins, the closest person to the amount of hours that it lasts, gets the entire.
The problem, of course, is the question is how long before people forget that this happened. If we are placing bets, then we're going to remember the whole time, so it will never end. But yes.
As long as how far
will the
leaves
outrage trail
mainstream
go?
Yeah, how long till the mainstream media stops reporting on it? So this is this came out Monday. So this came out today, actually. I saw a couple of reports on it today. It says a former Trump campaign staffer is suing President Donald Trump and his campaign, alleging that the then Republican presidential candidate kissed her without her consent during the 2016 race. Okay, the back just popped off my vape while I was talking.
Sweet.
She's also suing over equal pay, claiming that she was paid less for her work based on race and gender. So, is this like all-inclusive in one suit? I mean, I feel like that should be separate lawsuits. You got Donald Trump kissing her without consent, and then you got unequal pay based on gender and race. That shouldn't be included all in the same lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because if she wins based on the gender and race thing, then she wins on all of it. So that basically says Donald Trump kissed her without consent, regardless of whether he did or not.
I just don't care. I just don't care. I don't care what you dig up. Okay. This is going to become a story, I'm sure, and I'm going to care about it next week or something. But Donald Trump allegedly kissed somebody without her consent. Kiss rape is what we're talking about now. This is what we're coming up with. It's been 3 years, 4 years since it happened. And now this is something worth suing over because we've run out of options.
In 2019, I think we talked about this probably a month ago. 2019, men talking over women is rape culture.
Yep.
So there's that. I did want to point out, I at least want to read this first paragraph because this puts the mental image in your head of everything that transpired in the whole everything that she's saying. It says Alva Johnson, a former Trump campaign staffer who lives in Alabama, alleges in a lawsuit filed Monday that Trump grabbed her hand and forcibly kissed her without consent inside an RV in Florida.
So he kissed her hand or he kissed her face?
It just says he grabbed her hand and forcibly kissed her. The thing that caught my attention that it was inside an RV in Alabama.
In Alabama. I'm confused.
Well, I guess it was in Florida. She's from Alabama. Yeah. It says, while Trump was meeting with volunteers and signing autographs inside the RV. See, when I think RV, I don't think of like a big, like elaborate tour bus or anything like that. I think of like a van down by the river.
Down by the river. Yeah. I could be wrong, but the way I'm interpreting this so far is it sounds like he was signing autographs and he met her and he took her hand and kissed her hand, which is a very polite thing in all cultures. And that's what we're coming up with. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what this sounds like. This is where it's going.
So I got to keep going because every paragraph sounds better than the last.
Go ahead.
It says, while Trump was meeting with volunteers and signing autographs inside the RV, Ms. Johnson noticed that defendant Trump was watching her and appeared to be trying to make eye contact with her. Oh my God, the horrors. He raped her in the eyes. He raped her in the eyeballs. He was attempting to make eye contact with her without her consent. It says, after Trump was alerted by Secret Service that he was due for his next rally, she urged him to go in there and kick ass. Trump then allegedly grasped her hand and praised her efforts. What a fucking asshole.
What a sexist pig.
Yeah.
Go on.
He grabbed my hand and then he praised my efforts. As defendant Trump spoke, he tightened his grip on Miss Johnson's hand and leaned towards her. He moved close enough that she could feel his breath against her skin.
Good Lord.
The lawsuit states, Miss Johnson suddenly realized that the defendant Trump, I like how they keep saying defendant Trump instead of just calling him by his name, was trying to kiss her on the mouth and attempted to avoid this by turning her head to the right. Very detailed, not to the left, but to the right, which means she wasn't lying. Defendant Trump kissed her anyways, and the kiss landed on the corner of her mouth.
Go on.
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. It says, the lawsuit alleges that several witnesses saw the incident, including then Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, then State Director Karen Giorno, and regional directors Earl Tony. His name's Earl, but he goes by Tony Ledbetter, Mitch Tyner, and Nick Corvino. The lawsuit alleges that Bondi smiled when the incident occurred, and Giorni grabbed Miss Johnson's elbow and gave it an approving tug. What the hell is a approving tug? And why are we including this in the report? After the incident, on her way to the campaign state headquarters in Sarasota, Florida, the suit claims that Johnson called her partner and then her parents to tell them about what happened, crying as she recalled the incident. Of course she was crying. It was just so mentally traumatizing that he pecked her on the cheek/corner of her mouth. The lawsuit says Giorno had arrived in Sarasota earlier and was already sharing the details with other campaign staff. The lawsuit's existence was first reported by the Washington Post. Thank you for being on the scene, WAPO. Bondi said in a statement to CNN that the allegations Alva Johnson are making are false. As a career prosecutor and attorney general, had I seen anything improper, I would have taken action. I was with the president in the RV, and these allegations are false. Giorno did not respond to CNN's request for comment. Who cares? Why do you have to put that in? Both she and Bondi told the Post that they did not recall the incident in the RV and denied reacting in the manner which Johnson described. What manner? That she tugged on her elbow approvingly? Johnson, whose background was in event planning and human resources, voted for Democrats in previous election cycles. Who cares? However, she was intrigued by the possibility of working on the campaign of a relatively unknown political outsider like defendant Trump. A relatively unknown?
Was this in like
it's
the 20s? What are you talking about? He's never been unknown.
He's been one of the most known names since like 1982 or something like that. But prior to being aired, Johnson said she first met Trump in November of 2015 at a Birmingham, Alabama rally. At that first encounter, Johnson alleges that he engaged in inappropriate behavior. Of course, when Johnson walked up to introduce herself to Trump, he allegedly looked her up and down and said, "Oh, beautiful, beautiful, fantastic."
Yep, probably.
He's always been on Playboy. He's always I don't know. I'm just going to leave that there. Johnson was hired in January of 2016, but after the Access Hollywood tape was publicized in October 2016, that's the one where I'm sure he said, "Grab her by the pussy." Johnson sought legal counsel for guidance over the RV incident. About a week after the tape's release, Johnson quit the campaign. The lawyer ultimately decided not to take the case, according to the lawsuit. Wow, this is just getting more. This is getting more and more intense.
We're just digging into history and all the other crap.
Wait. No, last sentence. I promise. I won't read the rest of it, but this is the last sentence. She continued to feel considerable emotional distress because of the forced kiss and had nightmares about it, the lawsuit claims.
You should have quit while you're ahead. That's
what
I have to say.
No, that says it all.
No, I mean, just if you wanted me to believe that there was some sort of extreme foul play, you should have quit while you were ahead, because there was a part of me that was like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe it was a power play.
There's nothing to it.
I mean, it's to the point where, I'm sorry, but you cry wolf so many times, I don't care anymore. Dude, like, kissed you on the cheek. Did he hold you down?
Corner of the mouth. He held her
slipped
hand
into the corner of the mouth. I don't understand why this is that big of a deal at all. Don't force anybody to whatever, but this is not anything of substance at all. And when you try, it gets to a point where you're saying that you had nightmares about it. And these are the same people that refuse to acknowledge that Juanita Broderick was raped by Bill Clinton. But you're telling me you had nightmares because Donald Trump, at the corner of his mouth, touched the corner of your mouth, supposedly forcibly. I'm sorry, but you've crossed a line into fantasy land where you are supposedly having nightmares, and I find that really hard to believe, so I don't really care anymore. If he did something wrong, that's wrong. It's still, like, so nothing compared to the other things.
I've had more happen to me while working at McDonald's in Aledo, Illinois, than having the corner of my mouth kissed by a stranger.
Sexy music.
I'm not even going to get into it. More has happened to most people
right
on a day-to-day basis, and they don't have nightmares about it. I don't have nightmares about it.
Right. It's bullshit. I'm not buying it.
No,
here's all the people that support the show with their hard-earned and much-appreciated dollars. Thanks, guys. It's a crotchety night. But
on top of that, she was underpaid. Don't forget, she was underpaid because she was of her race and her sex. This sentence here says everything. It says Ms. Johnson was underpaid compared to similarly qualified and less qualified male staffers. She did not know this fact until very recently. Yeah, until all this shit decided to come out, and we decided to say, hey, you are underpaid. You should sue Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Just conveniently happened to come out right about the same time that, oh, yeah, did you know you were underpaid? Was I? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you how much they were paid, but I'm telling you now, you were underpaid. Oh, shit, I was underpaid?
The world is a terrible and frightening place. But, you know what's not terrible and frightening? The Downers Club. If you'd like to support this show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks and throw your money down the toilet. Less than a cup of coffee a month. You can do so. That's what these people did, and that's what keeps the show getting bigger, better, and more angry every single week, apparently.
A cup of coffee a month costs $2.85.
Shut up.
At Starbucks.
Get out of here.
It's the largest cup of coffee.
Shut up.
Okay, it costs $5.01 a month.
Shut up.
So you're right.
Shut up. Now I'm going to play the video that has the names of the people that support the show. If you'd like to be on that list, go to patreon.com/the system is down. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, this is Brett Glyer from Donorcy, and you are watching AntiNews Live.
Hi, this is Ole Dammegård from Light on Conspiracies, and you are watching AntiNews Live.
Hey, this is Brian McWilliams from Electric Liberty Land on the Lines of Liberty. You're watching AntiNews Live along with my lazy dog Hank here, who diarrheaed all over that couch. That's why that blanket's there. Enjoy!
And now it's time for that part of the show where we give a big thank you and a shout out to all the beautiful men and women who support this show with their hard-earned and much appreciated dollars. We could not do this without you. If you would like to increase the value of your life and get your name on this list, just go to patreon.com/the system is down and join the Downers Club.
I'm done, I'm pissed, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. You Satanists want to sacrifice the West. You want to kill the beautiful goddess that is the West. You people are enemies, and we're going to get your asses, and we know what you're up to, and we're coming for you. So I've had enough of these people. Okay, so I've been containing this for the last week. That's why I've been in here sweating, getting pissed, because I can't handle it anymore.
Hey, this is Toby from Bad Christian, and you're watching AntiNews. Hey, this is Toby from Bad Christian, and you're watching AntiNews.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lucas from the 29 Toes podcast, and you're watching the AntiNews Live. Fun fact, do you know anything that you drink out of this mug tastes 50% better? You should give it a try. Enjoy the show.
You know, we make fun of Alex Jones for being a bitter, angry old man who screams and yells and rants and makes an idiot of himself. I get it, though. I get it. It might not all be an act, because I feel that way right now, and we do like one half-assed show a week, and he does like 4 hours every day of this.
Don't you wish you had the mental capacity to just scream and like be enraged? I'm not that kind of person.
The super male vitality, testicular fortitude to do what Alex Jones does?
Right. I'm too passive to scream and yell on air. I mean, I'll do it into a pillow, or I'll do it at my children because they deserve it, but
I'll do it at my children because the leftists are crazy. I take it out on my kids. That's what I do.
Exactly. So I got another good one. I don't know
I'm
what
giving
you have.
you one last chance. I'm giving you one last chance tonight, because it is now 12:08 in the wee hours of the next day, and I'm going to give you one last chance to make me not angry. So this is up to you.
Well, this is not the one. Well, actually, this one is the one for you. This one will give you a hope for humanity, because we talked about.
Back and relax here.
I mean,
well, you bring it on home.
My intro to this, my transition to this, because I'm transitioning from the last one, but it's going to make you feel enraged. But then there's a hope. There's a glimpse of hope out there.
A new hope.
Exactly. So I just got done. The final statement I made in that last article was about the unequal pay and the unequal treatment of women and men, and how men have so much more advantage than women. Which, before I segue into that, somebody I think posted an article.
Are you going to
I can't remember
into
who
your
posted
segue?
it. Yes. Somebody posted an article about how like a woman who transitioned to a man found out just how much male
yes.
What's the word? Male
the opposite of privilege.
Can't even think. Yeah, male privilege. How much male privilege we actually got. And she was like kind of upset that people no longer held the doors for her. That testosterone levels made him, whatever.
Made it.
Not patient enough to listen to women drone on constantly about their problems, and how nobody listened to them anymore because he wasn't a woman anymore. And so, honestly, after all the insanity that's ensued in the last 5 years or so, this might be what we need.
Right.
To just shed light on how much freaking male privilege we actually have.
Right.
Speaking of male privilege, though, so a judge came out, a federal court came out and declared a specific law to be unconstitutional based on sexism. What do you think that law was?
I don't know.
The draft.
Ah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So there is a glimpse of hope in the world. With women in combat roles, which was passed in, I think, 2015, how women now are able to serve in combat roles because it was gender bias to say that they couldn't serve in combat roles. With women in combat roles, a federal court rules that male-only draft is unconstitutional.
Well, yeah, it should be.
It very much should be. And for somebody to come out and say
you fought for
that
it, now you're going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. So this starts out obviously with the children, because it's always with the children. It says, that's something completely different, so never mind. Nothing to do with the children. A federal judge in Texas has declared that an all-male military draft is unconstitutional, ruling that the time has passed for a debate on whether women belong in the military. The decision deals with the biggest legal blow to the selective service system since the Supreme Court upheld the draft registration process in 1981. In Rostker versus Goldberg, the court ruled that a male-only draft was fully justified because women were ineligible for combat roles. This was in 1981. Somebody sued and said, that's wrong, that's sexist. And they're like, no, it's not, because women aren't eligible for combat roles. Mm-hmm. So now, since 2015, for the last 4 years, they have been eligible for combat roles.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you
exactly.
have the draft of life.
So U.S. District Judge Gray Miller ruled late Friday that while historical restrictions on women serving in combat may have justified past discrimination, men and women now equally are able to fight. In 2015, the Pentagon lifted all restrictions for women in the military service. The case was brought by the National Coalition for Men. That sounds sexist in itself. The National Coalition for Men. Why hasn't this been shut down yet?
Are they allowing women into it?
A men's rights group. Wow. Didn't know that was a thing. I want to join just because. Men's rights group, National Coalition for Men, and 2 men argued an all-male draft was unfair. Men who fail to register for the selective service system at their 18th birthday can be denied public benefits such as federal employment and student loans. Women cannot register for selective service. The ruling comes as an 11-member commission is studying the future of the selective service system, including whether women should be included or whether there should continue to be draft registration at all. The U.S. has maintained an all-volunteer military after the draft was discontinued in 1973, but the selective service system was reactivated in 1980 as a contingency in case military conscription becomes necessary again. So basically, all men sign up for the thing, so if the draft is ever necessary, they have all your names in a hat, and they can pick you and select you for the draft. So, and that's been since... what did I say, 1981, 1980,
Greg, how do you feel about the fact that your daughter could be drafted someday into World War IV?
Hey, if my son can get drafted, I don't care if my daughter does.
Sexist piece of shit.
I don't think honestly, I think the draft in this day and age is pointless, but with the way the world's going, with the way the world's going, if we kicked off a war, and I'd said this in probably 3 or 4 years ago when we were at major heat with North Korea. If war kicked off with North Korea, China is going to join in. If China joins in, we are going to need the draft because we don't have enough people in America to fight against China, let alone
but
in
they're
the
all like
volunteer
half people,
armed
aren't
force.
they? So if you do the math, it adds
Doesn't
up.
matter. 10 trillion half people does not add up to a couple million full people. Anyway, the National Commission on Military, National and Public Service released an interim report last month giving no hints on where it would come down on those questions. But Commission Chairman Joe Heck told USA Today, "I don't think we will remain the status quo." That's just why do we report on such vague statements?
Right.
This guy said, "I don't think we're going to do the status quo." Okay, nothing else to say apparently.
Quote, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe.
We'll see.
The government had argued that the court should delay its ruling until that commission makes its recommendations, but Miller said Congress had been debating the issue since 1980, and the commission's final report won't come until next year. Wow, 1980 till next year, that's 30 years that this commission has been commissioned to make this decision, and they're not coming out for their final report till next year.
Good job, guys. Good job. You're
And
doing
because
the
the
Lord's
commission since the commission is advisory, there's no guarantee Congress will act. So it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, we are paying them to be this commission, but they're just a commission. They're just advisory. So we don't necessarily have to do what they say. They're just going to tell us something, and we're going to say, maybe, maybe not.
Quote, I don't know. We'll see.
So Miller said Congress has never fully examined whether men are physically better able to serve than women. In fact, he noted in a footnote. In asterisks, he said the average woman could conceivably be better suited physically for some of today's combat positions than the average man, depending on which skills the position required. Cooking. Or
I wasn't going to say it
I didn't say that.
Didn't, and then I was going to.
The little tiny spaces they can squeeze into better.
I mean,
combat roles,
just honestly, in general, men are. It's not a matter of sexism. Men are, by nature, more able to do harder jobs. It goes without saying, but for some reason, we're having to say it.
But because of testosterone. So if you want to pump yourself full of testosterone, then fine. But testosterone is proven to give you bigger build, more, physical abilities in some ways than estrogen does. Because that's why men are really against the buildup of estrogen in their body, because it just completely degrades them as men. But I don't know. Apparently, women could be conceivably better suited physically for some of today's combat positions.
What
I would like
combat
to know
positions are they?
What?
I mean, not saying that they
I know.
couldn't perform the tasks, but
Equally,
what do you think that they could do better? If we're just
as
being
far as
honest
combat,
here.
yes. As far as other things, yes. Women are far better suited for plenty of other things than men are.
Like the laundry.
Like lots and loads.
Loads and loads of laundry.
Things that require, common sense or, planning and stuff like that. Men just aren't prone to planning. There are things that women are better suited for, but better suited physically, combat-wise, You're
lying to yourself.
As sexist as this sounds, I just want to know. Just tell me. I might agree with you, but just please tell me, because it doesn't list any of that here.
Point to the job on the battlefield and say, yeah, women in general are better at that thing than men are. Point it out. I'm open to it. Let's talk about it. But no, you're not gonna, because it's magic. It's made up.
Because they made that statement in this article, but from what I can see, they did not list any of these.
They can just make statements and not justify them in any way at all. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, it goes on to say, quoting the Supreme Court's ruling overturning bans on same-sex marriage, Miller ruled that restrictions based on gender must substantially serve an important governmental interest today. I agree. I mean, if you're going to make this statement for one area, you should make that statement blanket across the board. If you're going to make restrictions based on gender that must substantially serve an important governmental interest today, you should make restrictions based on gender across the board substantially serve an important governmental interest today. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, if you think women are qualified for combat roles, not saying they are or they are not, then you think they are qualified for the draft.
Well, yeah.
Which is what they're saying.
Obviously,
the judge denied the government's
It's like a nothing
request for a
story.
stay.
It's a nothing story. It's like
No, it's an everything story. If this passes, that's a big, freaking awesome win for equal
it
rights.
should be a nothing story because it should be common sense, of course. If we are saying that you are able to do this, then you're all able to do it, and you all have to do it if the time comes. That's it.
Yes, exactly. And that's basically the end of the story. Yes, to some extent, this is symbolic, but it does have some real-world impact. It has a shit ton of real-world impact. That's saying we are going to go by the standards that we set. It's not just symbolic. It's saying we said this, and we are going to go by it. It shouldn't just be like, yes, this has so many implications, but it kind of might have some real-world impact. No, if you think this is the thing, then make it a thing. Just own all of it. Don't just own part of it. The parts that... What?
You know what's funny? We've got all this talk about, like, the new Captain Marvel movie and stuff, which we didn't touch on, which we should have touched on, because it's kind of important. The problem with Captain Marvel is the same problem that we've had with all these other female reboots. It's a thing that exists seemingly in
movies or the military.
I'm talking about a movie right now. So we've got this movie, Captain Marvel, that's coming out. It's a superhero movie. It's being praised because it is a strong female lead character. And by strong in Hollywood, you mean stoic and boring. And the most boring, you take the most boring male character in any action movie, slap a pair of boobs and a wig on him, and that is what they define as strong female lead. We just had Wonder Woman come out. She was an interesting character. She was a strong female lead. But we've got Captain Marvel, who...
But she shaved her armpits.
Captain Marvel is the feminist idea of a strong female lead, which is boring. It's nothing. And you've got these people who are outraged that people see this type of thing, this made-up character, this made-up reality of women are superior to men. That's the point that's being driven home in all the trailers, or some of the trailers so far. Like, the point of Wonder Woman was not that she was better than the men. She just was better than the men because she was awesome. She was an anomaly, which makes her awesome. In Captain Marvel, they're making it, see, we're going to be better than men. That's the point of the story, is see, we're better than men. You can say all day long you're better than men, and you can show it in movies. You can show these woman warrior soldier characters just to make all these little girls feel good and make them think that that is what brings them value by being better than men. But when it comes down to it in real life, when the draft happens and your daughter has to go die for her country, is that what you were fighting for? Because that's what you're getting. That's where this goes. That's where saying women are better than men goes. You should be not only allowed to be in the military, you should be drafted just as much as men. You should be drafted more than men because you're better than men. You're smarter than men. You're faster, stronger. You're better in every way. So get out there,
more
go fight for your country.
Combat positions.
So, you know,
yes,
I say take men out of the draft, put women in the draft, because according to movies like Captain Marvel, that's what we're going for.
Right. I mean, obviously, we should just cancel the male draft altogether and have a female-only draft.
Yep.
I mean, that makes the most sense
Problem
in
solved.
2019.
Obviously,
I think
that.
so.
I think that the draft should be gone. I think that most of our wars are stupid and we shouldn't be fighting in them. But that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. It's been a happy, cheery, fun Monday night / Tuesday morning. This will be Wednesday morning for you. I hope
of wars,
that you enjoy it just as much as we did. What, Craig? What do you want? I know the Jim Beam is flowing through your veins. What do you want?
Did you know, this is just a headline, I'm not going to get into it because it says it. The headline says everything. Russian TV listed a bunch of nuclear targets in the U.S. Just so you know, speaking of wars and pointless wars. So that's what we got to look forward to. So you say there's not a bunch to talk about, but there's going to be a bunch to talk about if Russia is listing U.S. nuclear targets.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's going to kick off.
Well, guys,
Which how many times have we?
It's been fun.
How many times have we said on this show that this is going to be the start of World War II? World War II.
World War II, huh?
Or 3. And well, that's if you subscribe that World War II ever happened.
Greg, do you want to wrap up this show?
No.
You want to talk about the soon coming World War I, or make up whatever?
None of the other world wars ever happened ever.
All right.
They're all a facade.
Greg, shut up. Well, guys, thanks for listening. It's been very enlightening, crotchety fun tonight, and hopefully we all survive through the next week and can do the same thing again in the future. But go out and I would leave it on a positive note, if I could. Go out and hug a classic feminist, because they were onto something. They were pushing for rights. Now they got the rights. Now they're pushing for superiority. Allow them to have it, and allow them to fight and die for you, I suppose. I don't know. I don't have any fun, happy way to leave this. But thank you guys for listening. I've enjoyed it. Whether it seemed that way or not, I enjoy even the darker sides of the world. I take some of the most joy in that. But if you would like to get the bonus content, we did record a little behind-the-scenes episode that has some announcements in it that we recorded. We recorded it before we talked here. If you want that, go over to patreon.com/thesystemsdown and join the Downers Club. You'll also get all of our bonus audio and video content that we put out every single week. And you will help make this show bigger, better, more beautiful, and more fun. Also, go join the System is Down forum, where you can talk about all these topics. Go to Facebook, if you dare, type in the System is Down forum, ask to join, and I'll let you in.
You say, if you dare, like, you might stumble across a really, really bizarre porn site if you type that wrong. So if you dare, type it in.
Yes.
It's like typing it.
I mean, more like if you dare go to Facebook, because Facebook is a terrible, terrible place. Worse than most porn sites, probably. That's
not nearly as interesting. It's like, do you remember back in our high school days, people were like, go to whitehouse.com. It was like a porn site or something.
No. I had good friends. Well, guys, thanks for listening.
I had no friends. I
know. So you were telling yourself to go to whitehouse.com, and then you were like, damn it, Craig. All right. Yes. Well, we are actually going to end now. So, Craig, it's been a real blast and a pleasure, as always. Enjoy your Jim Beam-filled night, and hopefully you make it through to next week. But any final thoughts before we go?
No, I'm probably going to go drink more.
You kept cutting me off every time I tried to end this, but when I ask you if you have any
nothing.
final thoughts,
I said everything.
You got nothing.
I said everything.
You interrupted with every final thought that you had. Great.
Exactly.
All right. Well, until next time, guys, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, be bad, have fun, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
So here's my pledge to you. I will be a commander-in-chief that will have the back of the military. I won't trash talk. I won't be a divider-in-chief or an agitator-in-chief. I won't be out there blowharding, talking a big game without backing it up. I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country, to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.